Abigail, dragon time. Let's go. Alan, did you see House of the Dragon?
Yes, I did. Finally, last night. I think they had late last night. I finally finished it.
Well, first of all, before we talk about the final episode, I think we just need to talk about this show is a pleasant surprise. I was not looking forward to this at all. Didn't really care after, Game of Thrones season 8. I was like, okay, that's over, right? I think that Game of Thrones was very ambitious. What I love about this show, it stands in contrast also to Lord of the Rings of Power, which was a colossal failure, and House of the Dragon soars, so to speak. That's a dumb critic thing that people say, but now I just said it so you can quote me on it. But what I loved about this season was, for some of the reasons some people didn't like this, I really like the fact that every episode, every line, every scene matters. There isn't a wasted piece of dialogue. There's not a wasted moment. Everything ties in and pays off. And the way that you see the story unfold and set up to what is going to be the division, these two houses battling now with dragons, which is just, we got glimpses of in the season finale. Incredible. The time jumps, I actually like the time jumps, except I have one note. There's a major time jump in the middle of the season, right? It's like right in the middle of the season.
Are you talking the cast change time jump?
The cast change. What they should have done was they should have had a mid-season break, 5 episodes, maybe a couple months, 2-3 months, maybe a month, whatever, and then another 5 episodes. That way we could have gone back, you rewatch, you kind of get pumped up, then you do the second half. I feel like it could have.
Yeah, I disagree, because if they did that, then all we would have is Rings of Power to watch at that point.
Well, yes, I think that contributed to the decision to not do that, but it would have actually served. That way the time jumps wouldn't have seemed so jarring. They wouldn't have seemed so jarring. But I love the show. The final episode, is just, I don't know. Alan, can you speak and give your thoughts about?
Yeah, the final episode for me was exactly what the final episode needs to do. It needs to get you excited about the next season. It needs to get you anticipating the long wait you're gonna go on before season 2 comes out, and it did it, and it did it in a way that I did not expect. And now I'm really pumped for the second season. Are we spoiling or? But I'll just say the big dragon battle at the end just had so much weight behind it, and when you realize what's going on with that battle and how it ends, you're going like, oh crap,
And you see this regret with Aemon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part of that whole thing. His reaction
is he was really almost like a kid, like he's like, trying to tease and whatever, and just like they would when he was a kid, and there's really no consequences. Now the real consequences of war. This is war, and we're leading up to what will be the Dance of the Dragons. I don't know how many seasons. I know there is a season 2, but I don't know how many seasons they've announced.
Yeah, I can't imagine, because it's a self-contained story, so it does have an ending, and I can't imagine them needing to drag that ending out for more than one season more.
Right. Well, it's going to lead directly to the fall of House Targaryen and there being no dragons, right? Like in the end, basically, this is not a spoiler, because if you watch Game of Thrones, everybody in the show is going to die at some point. Will we see it on screen? I don't know. But, the way Game of Thrones begins is House Targaryen is dead, basically, right? I mean, it's a dead house, and everybody's happy that's the case. So I don't know how close they're going to come to the beginning of the events of Game of Thrones. But what I do like about this is the focusing on primarily the one house, the House Targaryen divided, so to speak. you know, and I like that. I like that. I feel like Game of Thrones, there were so many characters and storylines and B stories that it was hard to keep up, especially when some of those storylines dropped for episodes, and it was just you know, look, it was ambitious. What I like with this is it's more self-contained. It's the one house, and of course other alliances and whatnot. And I can't wait to get to season 2. Who knows how long it's going to take? I don't think they just announced it. They must have been working on scripts. They had to have been.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, this is what I like about this is that, like, have we even seen anything like this in fantasy with I mean, we've seen movies with dragons. Dragon Slayer, I saw that was during the Krull era. Was Dragon Slayer. I remember thinking Dragon Slayer was kind of schmaltzy, very Disney, right? But and then the other thing that House of the Dragon does, I mean, is it has characters who happen to be gay, but it's not about their gayness, right? Like it has, it's a, you know what, and it's a diverse cast, but they're not like pointing it out, right? It just happens to be, and it's also just much more adult than Rings of Power, which just seems, I don't know who Rings of Power is for. It's not for Tolkien fans, unfortunately. But I loved it personally, and I can't wait for season 2. What are your thoughts? We do have we have a guest director coming here at the top of the hour to talk about Feed Me. We have filmmakers Adam Leader and Richard Oakes are going to be joining us. But let's go to your comments.
Yeah, let me I'll just say that, you know, people always ask what my point of view of criticism is, how I review things, and it generally boils down to tell a good story, have interesting characters, and an interesting direction that you're going in. And I will admit, the first 3 episodes of House of Dragon, I was not that on board. You know, I kind of knew ultimately where the direction of this show was going. And it just, I felt like it was just playing it out like you normally would. And I felt like I was ahead of the show. But after that 3rd season, when you start breaking down just the politics of this family, just the houses from within the Targaryen empire, I don't know what you call it. And then you start understanding that Rhaenyra and oh gosh, why can't I remember? Yeah, Alicent, that they are very distinct characters with very distinct motivations, and everyone has their own distinct characters and motivations, and it works, and it's just an interesting story.
But also, they are being played. Alicent is being played by people around her, and the same with Rhaenyra. Like, they're all being played by people around them. They're pushing them a certain direction.
Yeah, so it makes a complicated story, and it's handled so well. I mean, this is a very complicated tale, and but you see the artistry of the writing to keep it from getting out of control, and to manage so many chess pieces here, and to bring it together to tell a singular cohesive story. And that's, you know, again, we've been starving for this for a very long time, and I'm glad this series is here.